tuning in to the Zip Mouth Motivation Show.
Hey, Zip Mouth, let's get it. Let's talk to each other. Elevate, divine state. Let's boost each other. Conversate, no matter debate. We learning something to stimulate a greater state. Now ain't that something? Got it covered like gravy. A smothered chicken. The intellectual driven by streams and pathways to uplift. What seeing life different becomes the way of life. Finding your inner peace and shining like beacon through the motivation. Get you moving to go and discover new things. Zip Mouth, the doors wide open. Let's elevate the game. Stimulate the brain with ways to build bridges and live some better days. Motivation is all I'm saying with Zip Mouth.
Thank you for tuning in to the Zip Mouth Motivation Show. Hey y'all, welcome to the Zip Mouth Motivation Show. I'm your host, Damasha K. Damasha K. Y'all know what I was like? I don't know what happened. Like, I don't know, I had some kind of brain thing or something a second ago, because I literally was like sitting here like my show wasn't even about to start. And then I was like, oh wait, I gotta put my headphones on and get my mic. I was like, what's wrong with me? I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't like that little echoing sound either. But anyway, how y'all doing? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Listen, we are going to talk today. I don't know. I think I've been on some kind of like little, um, I don't know. I just been, you know what it is lately I've really been scrolling the internet. I really don't scroll like that. Like I be on TikTok. I like videos and stuff like that, just watching people dance and stuff like that is nice or whatever. But lately I've been scrolling and I've been like listening to like content like people are posting and um just looking at different things and just thinking like this is crazy. That's really what I've been thinking. Like, what did they say? And I'm not talking about like people who are doing comedy stuff. I'm talking about people who are literally leading people. They're leading them and they so leading them astray. And it's like, why are we doing this? You know what I'm saying? So in the next couple of weeks though, I don't know if I'm gonna do it on the podcast or if I'm going to just do it um just do it to do it on like maybe my subscriptions would get um they would get the tidbit of it. I'm not sure how I'm gonna do it yet, but y'all see I'm losing power and everything. Um this message don't want to get out. But I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I am gonna talk about the 48 laws of power at some time because people be abusing the book. Like they abusing the book. They using the book on communities that are not even one knowledgeable about the book. That's the thing. Not knowledgeable about the book. But not only are they not knowledgeable about the book, um, it's like the book is about narcissistic control. And I know I keep talking about this, but it's just because I keep seeing people using this book on people. And so when you're aware of stuff, right? You're aware of like different, because I've read the book a couple of times. You know what I'm saying? Like I've read through the book a couple of times, like, what is this? And it's good to read so that you're aware of what people are trying to do to you, right? But what I'm seeing is that people are using this book on communities or in communities where these people have no clue what you're doing, and that's not cool. Like, that's not cool to try to manipulate and control and, like, and then lead people down, like, a wrong path. This is insane, y'all. This is insane. So y'all know I'm a truth teller, so I'm gonna tell the truth. People are probably gonna be mad at me when I do tell like, when I do start talking about it because it's gonna expose them. Like, it's gonna expose them. But this is the year of exposure, so everybody getting exposed at this point. I'm just playing. But, I just feel like people should be exposed for doing evil things because that is evil to use that book on a community of people that have no clue about that book. And they have no clue the damage that book does. They have no clue that it's a narcissistic, that book is crazy. I don't know, well, I do know who wrote the book, but why he wrote the book, I don't know. Maybe he wanted to see like, um if people were gonna be used as test dummies, you know? I don't know because that's what people are doing, like, they're reading sections in the book and then they testing it out and they working and they feeling successful, but how could you feel successful by, manipulating and controlling people? I don't know. I don't know how you could feel successful like that, and I understand that people like to have power, you know what I'm saying? But you need to have power over yourself. The goal is not to have power over other people, but it's to have power over you. What is going to come to you is going to come to you. And you don't even have to prime prep, do anything for it. You are just going to receive it, you know. But people like to cheat, they like to cheat. They don't play games right. That's why I like to play chess and not checkers. Because like you can't cheat. I'm watching you, I'm watching the board, I'm watching everything that's going on. But I want other people to be aware because it is a dangerous thing. And so that's definitely going to get us into what we're going to talk about tonight. And before I start though, let me give a disclaimer, right? Let me do this disclaimer. The disclaimer is this is not to make people feel bad, but I want you to be aware because it's so important, like in today's society, to be aware of the trickery of the things that people are controlling you and leading you down the wrong, like leading you in a place of despair. Because I know y'all tired of being in despair, right? Like you tired of being frustrated, you tired of being angry, you tired of being hurt, you tired of waking up and feeling tired, you tired of like drama in your life. You tired of watching other people be successful and then you're not successful, right? And whatever you deem success to be, because for me, success is just love, like loving everybody around me and having like money is easy. Money comes and money goes. That's the point of it. You know what I'm saying? That's something that's easy. But when you're in a position or when you're at that level of life where you're supposed to be, it comes a little bit easier. You understand? So that means like removing fear, removing self-doubt, not listening to people who are trying to keep you focused on them making money, but you doing it as well. So we definitely, like I said, we're going to talk about that book. But tonight we are going to talk about a topic of I am not a sheep, becoming the shepherd of your own soul, like of your own person, of who you are, like just becoming the shepherd of who you are. And I use this one because I grew up in church. And every time, even as I got older, I would get frustrated when somebody called me a sheep, like in a sermon or something. Like I would get so frustrated, and I would get frustrated is because like I'm a wordy person, and so when you say a word to me, I'm going to look it up, right? So I'm gonna look up what that word what that word means and what it represents and just like I'm gonna look it up. So I remember even like as a kid, one day I looked up um the word sheep. And I was so frustrated because I was like, why are we calling people sheep? Why are we calling people sheep? It's not adding up for me. So when I looked up the word sheep, and I used to do this all the time on my podcast, and then I stopped doing it where I would look up words or whatever and then give people the meaning of it. But probably should start doing it because somebody did inbox me and they said you should start doing it again. So the characteristics of a sheep are a docile and gentle nature, right? Sheep are generally calm, non-aggressive, easy to herd, right? They flock mentally. They are highly social animals, like they like to talk, they friendly, they lovable, you know what I'm saying? But they have a follower behavior. Sheep tend to follow the leader or the group. Follow the leader or the group, right? They're vulnerable, independent. Y'all know I'm always talking about being independent, like doing stuff on your own and being able to accomplish goals on your own. Yes, you're going to need some assistance, but it's something different about when you're doing it and you're independent in doing it and you look back and say, I really did that. And it makes you feel good, like you proud of yourself. You like, I did that. Like I did that. I did that. Even if you say like I did that with the help of the Lord, you like I did it. You know what I'm saying? Invulnerable. Why are we taking advantage of people in their vulnerable state? I don't understand that. And then it says limited awareness. This is where I got mad at. And I remember being young and I remember being a teenager and then being an adult again and looking this word up again. And this is where I got mad at limited awareness. Let me tell you something. It is so important for you to be aware of what's happening to you. And if and possibly I'm not saying that and that's not at all directed towards the church. This is directed towards being a sheep, like just being a sheep. And I feel like words have power. So you have to be careful like what you say to people and what you allow people to put on your life. So it says limited awareness. They have good memory for faces, but lack critical problem solving instinct comparable to other animals. Meaning, like, this is one of the dumbest animals. Don't be calling me no sheep because I'm not that. So that is why we are going to get into tonight talking about like the sheep. And are you a sheep? Like, let's talk about as a sheep followers, like they follow noise. It moves where it's told to be moved. It trusts every voice but its own. How do you not trust if you can't trust yourself, right? How do you trust other people? You really don't. You saying you trust them, but it's just that you have this sheep mentality of like, I gotta, yeah, they know, but do they? Because sometimes in some situations it's about perspective. Because maybe y'all didn't come from the same walk of life. So what worked for them may not work for you. And that's okay. That is okay. And it also says that the sheep is like, it trusts every voice of its own. It lives like this. I've been a person like growing up, and I could think like in instances in my life where I followed the crowd. You know what I'm saying? And then I was like confused, like, dang, I shouldn't have did that. Or no, I really didn't want to go there. Why did I go there? Or why did I do that? And sometimes we confuse that with peace. We like, oh, well, such and such told me this. And yeah, that probably can work for me. But what do you feel in the inside? Because if that's not something that's going to really work for you, it's not going to work for you. By the end of this hour, you'll know exactly how to become the shepherd of your own mind, your energy, and your direction because it's like it's important. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not insulting people. I'm exposing patterns. Mindset sounds like I can't move until someone else approves of it. But why not? Why can't you move until somebody else approves of it? It sounds like the crowd must be right. And this how we get to this space where like we following all these trends and we going with this and we going with that and we going with that. I told you anything the world say is true. I'm not doing it. I'm just not going. No, I'm not doing that because I don't know anymore. Like if that is the truth or is that a lie? Is that a lie? So I'm gonna do what feels good to me, and I don't want people to be offended because I'm not offended when they do things that feel good to them. And then the sheep also feels like if I stay quiet, I'm safe. I hear this probably every day, all the time, of people not wanting to be either confrontational or they don't want to seem confrontational because they speak up for yourself. Speak up for yourself. Speak up. Tell people how you feel. And if they get mad, they get mad. That's on them. You made me feel this way. This is what I feel. And if it isn't true, if that isn't what they are trying to do, then they will say that. I keep saying like over and over again in my videos and like when I'm on live, I'm like, we don't talk enough. Like we don't have conversations enough. So you don't really get to know people or get to know like because people don't talk. Another part of the sheep mentality is I don't know what I mean. I'll just go with them. I don't know what I want. I'll just go with them. It's not who you are. It's how you were trained. We're moving from like the trained to follow to the trained to listen inward and lead on your own. Because like I said, sometimes things are about perspective. We didn't have the same life. We didn't go through the same things, so we're not going to respond to the same things as everybody else in our life. You're just not. It's like I was thinking the other day, I was like, man, I was listening to people talk about their relationships like with their siblings, and they were talking about their relationships with just different people in their life. And I started to think about my siblings, and I started to think about like, man, you know what? We never had no arguments. We have like strong like conversations where we don't agree, but it doesn't turn into like an argument where we're yelling and screaming and cussing each other out. So I don't know how that is when people are at odds with their siblings. I don't have any real advice for them because I don't know what they're going through. I don't know how they feel. I don't know what the cause of it is because my mama would tell us up if we got to arguing and fighting. So we just learned through years like we don't argue. Maybe we still afraid we gonna get tore up because we is still kinda afraid of our mama. So, but it's kinda like we just not going to do that. It's to my brothers, like, leadership of self is not hardness. Because sometimes we think like leadership is like this, like, it's clarity, it's boundaries, it's consistency. And I think the hardest thing for a man to do is find clarity because there's so many voices that are around him and coming at him about what he should do and how he should do this. And then he got to be timid because he don't want that woman that he loved to get upset with him, but he also don't want mama to get upset with him. Oh, wait a minute, he got his siblings, and then what about the other people that he care about? Like it's just so many voices coming. And to the sisters, leadership of self is not perfection, it's discernment. It's rest when you need it and telling the truth. If this is like something that's kind of like bothering you, you feeling uncomfortable, you're like, I'm finna scroll, don't scroll, keep watching. Discomfort is a doorway. Like this being uncomfortable is a doorway to healing, to the next level, to growth, to the betterment of yourself. If you walk around life all the time being comfortable, right? You know you're not growing because you stagnant. You stagnant in that same behavior. You're stagnant in that same environment. You stagnant in that same thought pattern. You're stagnant in that. But then when somebody says something or they say something like sometimes people will inbox me and they be like, "What you was talking about me?" No, because I don't know your situation. I don't even know you. No, no, I absolutely was not talking about you. And sometimes people say, "Was you talking?" Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I probably talked to 150 people in one day. I don't know. I don't remember half the time. Like a lot of times people will have the same patterns. This morning I had 4 people send me a text message. All their text messages were exactly the same with different wording. I was like, wow. But that's what sometimes life is happening like that for people. When you think of shepherd, I want you to think mindset. Think independently. Noise doesn't make a choice. Instead of saying, I set the pace, urgency doesn't ruin my life. Like you don't have to be in a hurry. When you're saying I protect my peace, don't negotiate your sanity. And y'all know I'm big about protecting peace. When you say I hear my intuition and act on it with courage. If you feel something in the inside, if you feel like you should go to the next level, or if you feel like you should make a move, sometimes you have to make that move without telling anybody because then you don't have all that noise, like people telling you their opinion and what their perspective is, and they imposing their fears on you and all that. No, think. It's okay to think. It's okay to think. It's okay to think and make a decision. And guess what? Sometimes we make a decision and it doesn't turn out the way that we wanted to turn, but there is a bigger picture. There is a bigger picture. You had to go through that in order to get to the next level. I always like be complaining sometimes about like, man, I don't know. Like that's me, sometimes. And then when I like it's like God quickening in my spirit. God be like, why you doing all that complaining? Or I'll do something and it don't work out, and I'll be like, "Man." Why that happened like that? I don't understand what happened. And God had to remind me, like, it's a bigger picture. So tonight, I'm reminding you it's a bigger picture because that thing might not work out. But if I didn't do this, then I wouldn't have, like it's almost like I met two wonderful friends, right? But in the midst of meeting those two wonderful friends, some bad stuff happened. You know what I'm saying? Like some really crazy stuff that I would never imagine in my life. I could never do to anybody in my life, but it did. But if I didn't meet the person who brought the bad energy, I would have never met these two wonderful people. I would have never met them. And so before I start complaining about the situation, I'm always thankful that I met them. And that's how things happen sometimes. It happens where like chaotic situations or situations where you just make a solid decision, it might not work or it might seem like, oh, that didn't work, but it did work. It set you up for the next situation. It set you up for the next step into greatness. It set you up for the next power move. It just didn't look like it because sometimes we look with these eyes and we don't look within to say, you know what? I made that decision because I felt it was a good decision. So something good is going to come out of it. Whether it's me learning from this or it's me getting to another level and being stronger once I get to that other level. That's just a change of perspective. And it's in instances in your life, you have to take radical ownership of your thoughts, of your habits, of your relationship. So then of the results. And then you have to take accountability because now at this point you can't say, man, I shouldn't have listened to I shouldn't have listened to John because John done told me the wrong information. Man, I listened to Stacy tell me go right and I should have went left. And I felt it in my heart I should have went left. Because I can't, like we all could tell a million stories about like how we did situations or we went through something because we listened to somebody else. But you have to change it. There are three main voices competing for your life, right? Three main voices that compete for your life. Fear is number one. Loud, urgent, catastrophic. Fear gonna make you stay in the house. Fear gonna make you not talk to people. Fear gonna have you upset about stuff that you shouldn't be upset about. Fear gonna tear you down. Number two, flock. Trending, popular, unexamined. The flock. Whatever somebody do, you gonna do it. Whenever there's a trend, everybody gonna do it. We people on Facebook, right? Not Facebook, but Instagram, TikTok right now. They on TikTok right now in group 7. Y'all, we don't know what group 7 is. We don't even know what group 7 is supposed to do. But these videos are popping up and people are saying, if you see in this video right now, you are in group 7. And so now group 7 has become this powerful group when it was an experiment, y'all. It was an experiment. A young lady came out with a song and she did 7 or 9 videos, 7 some amount of videos to promote her song. And she did these videos back to back to back. And number 7 is the one that started trending. That's the one that made it. But since she did that video and somebody started talking about group 7, it started trending. It became popular. And nobody really ever, until a little while, went back and said, where did this come from? So the flock is always one of the three that's competing for your life. And then on the flip side, you got the truth, the calm, consistent, the often quiet part of you that's kind of like, like what is the truth? What is it that I should be doing? What direction should I be going in? Just for a second, right? Just for a second. Close your eyes. Unless you're driving, unless you're listening to this while you're driving, close your eyes though. And I want you to breathe in, right? I want you to breathe in. And I want you to hold it for a 6 count. At 4, I want you to breathe in. And then at 2, I want you to hold it. And then when I say 6, then you're gonna let it out. Ready? Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now at 2, 1, 2, hold it. And just hold it for a second, right? Because I want you to think about, am I a leader of my own self, or am I a sheep that's being led all different kind of ways and I don't know? 5, 6. Now blow it out. And then I want you to ask yourself, what have I been following? What have I been following, right? Fear, flock, or truth? And you don't have to like put it in the comments. You don't have to inbox it to me. What have you been following? Fear, flock, or truth? Now ask yourself, what does my truth want me to do in the next 24 hours? What does my truth want me to do in the next 24 hours? And the first answer is the answer. Write it down for later and act on it. And act on it. Now I made y'all do the breathing exercise because I wanted you to get all of the anger, the fear, the frustration, all of that stuff off of you. So don't be talking about, well, you know what? My truth wants me to, in the next 24 hours, set it completely off at such and such house. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But what does your truth want you to do in the next 24 hours? That first answer is your answer. Write it down for later. Of course, y'all know these are like some practical steps to lead yourself daily, not in theory, but in movement. Not in theory, but in movement to move to that next level. Next level. And y'all know I got to put some commercials in there. This episode is brought to you by Takaya Divine, Mind, Body, and Soul. Support with healthy teas. Okay. Make sure if you're looking for some tea, DM me at Takaya Divine. Make sure you DM Peace, and then we can talk about the tea, sound healing, DM Reset, Reiki, and tea rituals. Definitely DM Peace. And remember that Zip My Motivation airs every Tuesday at 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. on 101.5 Indie Radio. Share this episode with somebody who is ready to lead their life. Like, who is ready to lead their life? So let's build, right? Let's build your shepherd toolkit, right? There are 5 pillars in building this shepherd toolkit. First one is direction, a 90-day compass, right? 90-day compass. And this is a question I want you to write down for the 90-day compass. What's the one result that would change everything if I committed to this for 90 days? For 90 days, what is the one thing? Thank you for tuning in to the Zip Mouth Motivation Show.
Hey, zip mouth, let's get it. Let's talk to each other. Elevate, divine state, let's boost each other. Conversate, no my debate. We learning something to stimulate a greater state. Now ain't that something? Got it covered like gravy, a smothered chicken. The intellectual driven by streams and pathways to uplift. What seeing life different becomes the way of life. Finding your inner peace and shining like beacons through the motivation. Get you moving to go and discover new things. Zip mouth, the doors wide open. Let's elevate the game, stimulate the brain with ways to build bridges and live some better days. Motivation, that's all I'm saying. With Zip Mouth.
Thank you for tuning in to the Zip Mouth Motivation Show. Let me tell y'all something. This show has been the glitchiest show. I don't know why that thing did that, but we just gonna roll with it. Whatever happened, happened. I promise you, it's just so much stuff. Y'all have no clue how much stuff is going on around me right now. That's why I know like people are doing too much of sheep living and not enough of being a leader of their own, like being of their own person. So for 90 days, what's the one result that would change everything if you committed to it for 90 days, right? And then I want you to write one sentence for the next 90 days. I am committed to XYZ thing. Whatever it is, whatever you committed to, for the next 90 days, I'm committed to losing my stomach again. Okay. I am. I'm committed to it for the next. I be wearing the waist trainer in the afternoon, in the morning, sleep in it, do my little stomach crunches. I be doing my little thing now. So, so just to get, that off because stomach for my own personal thing, but stomach weight is very detrimental to your life. And so if you are a healthy person or you're trying to get into that healthy space, is gut health is so important. Like it is so important. Gut health is really, really important. So if you have like that, this totally off topic, but if you have that big stomach and it's like you trying to figure out like what can I do? Hey, start getting rid of that gut health and you'll start feeling energy. You'll start feeling better when you think. And so it is about what you put into your body. Y'all know I don't eat meat. I know a lot of people feel like they can't do that, but it is what it is. Eat what you can eat and do what you can do. Just do it so you can get that gut right, you know. Anywho. And then number 2 is discernment. Your yes, no filters. Your yes, your no, no filters. Ask yourself before you agree, is this aligning with the 90-day compass? So you on this 90-day, I'm committed to this for 90 days, right? So before you say a yes or a no, is this aligned with your 90-day compass? If it's no, then it's a no. It's a no. Like I always tell people, it's a no for me. I'm good. I'm good, love. It's a no for me. So if it's not aligned up with your 90-day compass, then it's a no. Then number 3 is discipline. Now, this is one of the hardest things to do because being disciplined is not everybody's, even mine sometimes. It's certain things like eating cakes and pies. I don't have no discipline. I want to get rid of my gut, but every time I see a honey bun, I want to eat it because I love honey buns. It's discipline. It's like saying no. Structure that save energy, like structure that energy. Build 2 non-negotiables, right? 2 non-negotiables. Like, I'm not negotiating on these 2 things during this 90-day commitment. I'm not negotiating. It doesn't matter who get mad, who upset, what they feel like. I'm just not negotiating. Keep them even on the bad days. Like, even on the days when I feel like I wanna eat a box of honey buns, I don't. But I could, especially the little small ones, but I don't. Even when I'm feeling frustrated and a honey bun is the first thing I wanna do when I feel frustrated is I wanna eat a honey bun. Don't. Build that discipline up. And then number 4 is boundaries. Protect the pasture. You are the pasture. I respect you, but this doesn't align with my commitment right now. It's okay to tell people that. Like, it is okay to tell people, like, right now, I'm trying to focus on something, and I will get with you in a few minutes or a few days or whatever. Boundary versus beef. Boundary equals clarity, though. People gonna beef with you because you telling them the word no. Nobody don't like to hear the word no. I don't know why, but people don't like the word no. So once you create that boundary to protect your pasture, your 90-day compass, your 90-day commitment, that you're being disciplined and structured to get to this next level. Once you do that, protect it with boundaries and clarity. Number 5, reflection. Make sure you're looking back like take 10 minutes a day, once a week. What worked? What drained me? What will I have to adjust? Shepherds don't chase. They adjust. They don't chase, they adjust. That didn't work. I have to let that go. Okay, I gotta try this now. I gotta fix the way or tweak the way I did this in order for me to be in ownership of myself. That means owning my mind, owning my spirit, owning my soul, like being accountable to myself first. I always tell people, like, if you can't be accountable to yourself, you can't be accountable to nobody else. Character is for real. And of course, a mini affirmation that you could use for the people who do use affirmations. I choose clarity over chaos. I choose alignment over applause. I'm going to say that again because I choose clarity over chaos. I choose alignment over applause. That's important. That is important. For the men, you are told leadership is domination or grind or real leadership is listen, the real leadership comes in presence and consistency. I remember like growing up, right? And living with my grandmother and being at home with my mom and my dad. I remember like my granddad, he never really said too much of anything. Like he would come home from work, he would speak and he would talk and stuff like that. And my grandparents had a lot of like get-togethers when I was young. They would always have people over eating and hanging out and stuff like that or whatever. But my granddad never said too much. It was just his presence that you knew like he was the leader. You know what I'm saying? Like he was the leader in the home. And it's still to this day, like even with my dad, it don't matter, like I got two stepdads and then I got my real dad. Even with them, it is just the presence. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm a grown woman, you know? But my dad can call me and he could say something to me, and it's kinda just like, "Okay," like, it is what it is. If my dad say I gotta do that, then I guess I gotta do that, And not even in a controlling sense, but just in, like, his presence of being the leader, you know what I'm saying? And then that consistency is another important thing because are you consistent with yourself? Pick one area like of your life, right? Health, finances, fatherhood, faith, business, whatever, and set a standard. Daily, I do blank, no matter what. No matter what, daily you do something within your health, your finances, your fatherhood, your faith, your business, whatever it is, man. Daily, you do what? And do that thing daily and set those boundaries, set that consistency for that. And then for the ladies, you were told that leadership means doing everything for everyone. If y'all don't stop, if y'all don't stop, real leadership is discernment and boundaries, and even boundaries with your children. Even boundaries with your children. My son is 18 years old. I told him in the beginning of the school year, let's go get this sports physical because this one is going to run out. Oh, no, no, mom, no, mom. I'm good. I'm going to use this one right here and I'm going to be good for the season. Guess what? Guess what happened yesterday? The coach told him you can't practice until you go get an updated physical. And guess what he did at 10 o'clock at night? Because the coach texted him at 10 o'clock at night, I guess. He come trying to stress me out. Absolutely not, sir. No. Let me show you how to go on here and make you an appointment and show up to the appointment. You can use my car. Absolutely not. I'm setting a boundary because when I wanted to go with you, you ain't want to go. Now you will go on your own. Set the boundaries. You can't take care of everyone unless you're taking care of yourself first. How can you be everything to everybody and nothing to yourself? It doesn't add up. Create independence. I'm finding that sometimes people have this thing where they want to control people. So they want to control every aspect of people's lives, right? They want to control who they talk to, where they go, how they move, what they say, this, that, and the other. And then they feel like they make that person feel like I'm taking care of you. I'm doing this for us. No, you're not. You're lying. You're lying. You doing that for you. You doing that to remain to be in control. That's why I'm going to talk about this book. You were doing that to remain to be in control. Let people go so you could be somebody, so you could do something, so you could start living. Create the boundaries, ladies. Drop the savior role. Save your voice. When you start rescuing people, people rise or they reveal. And a lot of times, ladies, we'll find ourselves all hurt because we feel like we done did all we could do for people, and this how they betrayed us. No, you betrayed yourself. You betrayed yourself because instead of creating independence, you created control because you felt like I got to do everything for everybody. You don't. You teach them how to do it for themselves. You let them bump their head. They come back and they might learn a little bit more. You teach them again, and then you let them go out there and you let them do it because they can. Because they can. Because now what you're doing is you're creating a sheep. So what you're telling me is your children and the people that you love, they're dumb and they're docile and they only follow. Ever since my children were little, I would teach them in the morning. I would tell them, I said, you keep your eyes open and your mouth shut. You're a leader. You don't have to respond to everything that somebody says to you negatively. You can walk away and you have choices. So as they got older, they would keep saying those things. Every morning, we're going to say that in the car after we pray. You keep your eyes open. You keep your mouth shut. You're a leader. You have choices. Now they think they got too many choices. That's a podcast for another night. Let's reset together for a second. If you can place one hand like over your chest, right? Place one hand over your chest and one on your belly. And I just want you to feel the inside of you because it moves, like you have a beating heart. And if you're hungry, your belly probably growling a little bit, but you can feel your stomach going up and down. If you can feel all of those things, right, in the inside, imagine releasing that energy, right? All of that good energy that you feel inside, your heart beating, that's a good thing. Your stomach going up, that's a good thing. But you're releasing that stuff into your life. You're releasing that stuff into building in the betterment of you. Not trying to make somebody follow you and be controlled by you and be controlled by what you do, but just, like teach me how to do better. Show me that I can do it. Cheer me on, clap for me. But it starts with you clapping for yourself. It starts with you wanting to learn to do better. It starts there. It starts in that moment. When you start listening to yourself, you start seeing stuff like, dang, I actually can hear my intuition. And I honor that. I'm glad I made that decision. Yeah, it didn't work out the first time like I thought it would, but I'm glad I made that decision. I choose responsibility over excuses. I keep telling my sons lately, I'm telling them it's not always about what you want to do, it's about what you need to do. And what is it that you need to do? Sometimes they be looking at me with a blank stare, but I be like, I'm not going to give you the answer because you know what you need to do. You know, like what's going to make it smoother for you to wake up in the morning time. You know what's going to make your day smoother in the middle of the day. And when you come home, you know what's going to make it smoother. But you have to think about it and then you have to execute it. You have to do it. You have a thought and then you have an action. Then you start saying things like, I'm allowing change in my pace and my path. I'm allowing that change. You don't have to move every time somebody tells you to move. You don't have to do something just because the trend is saying do it. You don't have to go that way. And then peace can be a strategy. If you know me, you know I like being in peace. And if you disrupt my peace, I will disconnect. I mean, I will block you. I will act like I never knew you again. And people might say that's me. I take my peace serious because my life wasn't always peaceful. So when I got a taste of peace, baby, you think you go nope. Nope. My son tried to disrupt my peace last night. I told him, absolutely not, sir. Here you go. You could call this place right here. They have appointments. You can call this place right here. They have appointments. The fee is this, and you need to go ahead and make you an appointment. Have a beautiful night. Have the best day that you can have. And some people may say that's mean, but guess what? He did it. He did it, and he was proud of himself. He did it. And he was like, "That really wasn't that hard, mom." I know it wasn't. You just wanted to stress my life out. Absolutely not. And so there are 4 things that you have to 4 things that keep you trapped in this flock mindset, like this sheep mindset. And the first one is busyness. You do a lot, but nothing is complete. Go back to that 90-day compass. Number 2, opinion addiction. You need a committee before you start moving. You don't need a committee. I've been telling a lot of my clients lately when we're talking about decision making, I just tell them, like, I just want you to do this one thing, and I want y'all to do it too. I want you to make a decision, right? I want you to make a solid decision, and I want you to do it, and don't tell anybody you're doing it. Just do it. Just do it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't, just do it. Just do it. And then you could tell people afterwards what you did, or you could tell them once it comes to fruition, whatever you did, do that. Number 3, peace watching. Calling avoidance peace. I'm avoiding doing this, but I'm at peace. Child, is you really at peace? Because it's still on your mind that it has to be done. Just do it. It's not always about what you want to do. Sometimes it's about what you need to do. What's going to bring you more peace? Accomplishing something, having something, setting a goal, following your 90-day compass. For the ladies, setting those boundaries, even with your children. Number 4, perfection paralyzed. Waiting to be ready. If you wait to be ready, you're never going to be ready. Just do it. Just do it. Just step out on faith and do it. I told people, and I think it was last year in the podcast, and I had somebody inbox me and ask me, like, how much money I invested in my business. Oh, too much. Making mistakes and making errors. Not, like, not listening to too many people. So I'm not speaking from, like, just like education. I'm speaking from reality. Too many voices. When I started doing things, like when I started learning stuff and I started just doing stuff on my own and then telling people about it later, because people will tell you, even to today, I'll do something, like I'll do all kind of stuff, da, 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 da. And then I'll be like sharing it in group chats with my friends, like, oh, yeah, I did this the other day. They be like, when did you do that? Why didn't you tell anybody? Because I just needed to do it. I didn't want to hear opinions. And not that the opinions was going to be bad, but just in case they was, I don't want to hear it. I just want to do what I need to do. What I know is going to work for me. What I know, I'm setting my life up. When I said I'm going to be a millionaire, I meant that. So when the opportunity knocks, I'm walking through the door. And I'm not looking back to see if anybody there with me, because y'all said I was going. Do y'all want to come or no? So if y'all want to come, let's go. But if not, stay back there and keep trying to figure out what we're gonna do next, because we just gonna do this right here. And some people will say, well, that might stare you down the wrong path if you just do stuff. 9 times out of 10, it doesn't, because you're not thinking with fear. You're not listening to the voices. You're just doing because you feel it in the inside. You feel in the inside, like, I really need to do this. This is something that I know is going to be great and it's going to work out in the long run. So I'm going to put it out there every which way I can. And it's going to work. You may not see your rewards today or tomorrow, next week or next year, but you will see the reward. You will see the reward. So watch for those 7 traps. And if you notice, most of those traps are within you, things that you can avoid, things that you don't have to be involved in. So we are not being sheeps anymore. We are learning who we are, learning what it is that we need to do. And when somebody call you a sheep, you tell them, I am not docile. I am not one of the dumbest animals. Because what does that mean anyway? Don't let people place words on you that you are not. I always tell people, like, if you don't know what something means, look it up. Find a definition. We say words all the time, and then half the time we don't even know what they mean. And we don't realize the things that we're putting on people's lives. And it's not fair because they don't realize either. And not saying that they're not smart enough to look it up. I'm just saying, like, we get used to people thinking for us so much that we don't think for ourselves. And at what point do you start thinking for yourself? At what point do you stand up and say, like, I'm not afraid to listen or trust that inner voice within me? I choose alignment over applause. I release the fact that I got to move with the crowd and I can move by myself. I'm one main person that will say, like, I know a ton of people, lots of people all over the place, all over the world. I know lots of people, but most of the time I'm by myself. And I don't have an issue with that because I trust the inner voice in me. I choose alignment over applause. I move with intention and not negative intention, because I've been hearing this being thrown out there a lot. People like, oh, I move with intention, but you moving with control, you're moving with deceit, you're moving with disrespect. That what kind of that? Yeah, that's your intention. But I move with pure intention. I am the shepherd of my life. Because at the end of the day, and you could put this in the fact that if you go to church or if you don't go to church or if you believe in God or if you don't believe in God, because a lot of people, like every time I'm talking, they always think I'm talking about spiritual. I understand that y'all know I'm spiritual, but I don't be in the spirit. I'm just playing. I just be talking, like just this is the reality. But if you put it in that in that fashion, if you put it in that fashion, then sometimes you have to learn that when you get ready to go before, like if you feel like you're going to heaven and you feel like that's real for you, or if you feel like you stepping into a spiritual world, whatever you feel, but whenever you get ready to go in front of whatever you feel your end is, right? You are going to be the only person standing there. You are literally going to be the only person standing there. Whatever Lil John, whatever Stacy and all of them told you, whatever crowd you follow, you not being in alignment, it's just gonna be you. It's just gonna be you. Whatever it is that you believe. So at some point, you have to learn how to have ownership over who you are and what your abilities are and what your gifts are. And set those boundaries and be consistent and be accountable to yourself first. First. Not to say that you don't owe other people accountability, but you own yourself accountability. And if you can't be accountable to yourself, I know you can't be accountable to nobody else. Again, we are not sheep. We are not sheep. We are not dumb animals. We can think, we can move, we can talk, we can remove the fear, the frustration. And not saying that you don't need advice sometimes, get the advice. Not saying that you don't need to learn sometimes, learn what you can learn. I remember my college professor told me this, and I'll never forget it. He said, "You need to know a little bit about a little bit about everything that happens in the world. And when you're talking to people, you take what you need, and the rest of it that you don't need, you put it somewhere else because you might need it later on down the line." True story. I talk to people sometime, and I'm not gonna tell no lie. Be like, want, and then they'll say something. I'll be like, true statement. And then it'll be like, want. Very true statement. Sometimes it's like that. And then later on, I'll be rehashing that conversation like, dang, they said such and such and such. Oh, that do make sense now. Okay, I see how they put that together or where they get that rationalization from. Because it just has to digest sometime in my soul, I guess. But either way, y'all, I appreciate y'all. I love y'all, respect y'all. Y'all always know this is a Zip Mouth Motivation Show with Demasha K, of course, every Tuesday at 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. on 101.5 Indie Radio. For coaching, DM me, put mindset on every platform is Zip Mouth Motivation or Demasha Katrina. For healing or Reiki or T, DM sound or reset, definitely this if this fed your spirit, right? If this fed your spirit, share it with somebody. Tag somebody in it. Send them the recording, something, do something. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't take all the information for yourself and take it in and don't provide it for somebody else to be released or relieved or, set the tone for a better life for them. Because we do that. We be gatekeeping. We got to stop doing that. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good day, a good night, wherever you are. Do what you need to do. Thank you for tuning in to the Zip Mouth Motivation Show.
Hey, Zip Mouth, let's get it. Let's talk to each other. Elevate, divine state, let's boost each other. Conversate, no matter debate, we learning something to stimulate a greater state. Now ain't that something? Got it covered like gravy, the smothered chicken. The intellectual driven by streams and pathways to uplift. What seeing life different becomes the way of life. Finding your inner peace and shining like beacon through the motivation. Get you moving to go and discover new things. Zip Mouth, the doors wide open. Let's elevate the game, stimulate the brain with ways to build bridges and live some better days. Motivation, that's all I'm saying. With Zip Mouth.
Thank you for tuning in to the Zip Mouth Motivation Show.